What's going on? Welcome back. Another video. So why do we doubt ourselves as empaths so much? It can be so difficult to just have a sense of self-confidence. When you're in a situation, like whatever it is, you're talking to someone or you make a decision, and then you leave the situation and you just start thinking about it, and you're just like, man, I don't know why I handled it like that. I could have done it better. I should have said this. I should have done that. Dang, man. Now I'm all hard on myself. Now I've lost my confidence. I don't trust myself. Well, welcome to the club, of being an empath. Sometimes this is what happens, right? So this is all a product of the mind, though. Think about this for a sec, right? When you're being spontaneous in life and you're just being in the moment, you're making decisions or you're talking to someone, or it's an awkward situation, it's tense, like whatever, you're making decisions real time. That's your intuition, and that is your whole sense of being making these decisions. Like, try when you're in a conversation with someone to be thinking about what to say next or thinking about what to do next as it's happening real time. It's going to be weird. It's going to be awkward. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's just you're not going to be able to always be able to think about the next perfect thing to say. That's how we get stifled. Like a lot of times when we're in confrontational situations, we'll freeze up and we'll be sitting there trying to think about what to say. And then we just get steamrolled over and we get all awkward and tense and uncomfortable. And then it just gets really bad. And then you leave the situation and you're like, man, I can't believe I just froze like that. So whatever situation you're in, it could be a dangerous situation, a threatening situation, right? And you and someone are in an argument, and in the moment, you don't really stand up for yourself. You de-escalate the situation. You kind of back down a little bit, if you will, and then afterwards, you get so hard on yourself. You're like, why did I just back down like that? Why didn't I stand up for myself or say this thing? Oh, if I only would have said this. Your intuition and being in the moment, you need to trust that you were doing the right thing in the moment. Who knows? If you would have stood up for yourself, or if you would have asserted yourself or yelled or fought back too much, someone could have gotten hurt. Something could have happened. You don't know that. So maybe it was the best thing in the moment to do what you did. You need to trust the spontaneity of life. You need to trust that you're making the right decisions in the moment. Now, I'm not saying you can't go back later and say, well, maybe I could have handled that a little bit better. That's good. That's called self-awareness. That's called introspection. But don't judge yourself on that. Don't be hard on yourself just because you think you could have, made a different decision. That's where the lack of self-confidence comes in. It's like, okay, yeah, I guess I could have handled that better, but don't be hard on yourself about it. You need to trust that you made the right decision in the moment. You did the best you could with what you had in the moment. You need to trust that. That's self-confidence. That's trusting your gut. That's trusting you, And then, yes, the mind is going to come in. You need to separate yourself from the mind, though, a little bit. It's like you don't take the mind so seriously. How do you know the mind is right? The mind isn't always right either. Why are you trusting your mind more than you're trusting yourself in the moment, your intuition, your gut? That's what's running your subconscious. That's what's running the moment. Again, I'm not saying you shouldn't have introspection. I'm not saying you shouldn't examine the situation. And yes, there's maybe something different that you might have been able to do if that's what your gut says, but don't judge that. Don't be hard on yourself for that. You need to start trusting yourself, because the mind comes in and it just it makes you doubt yourself, and then you listen to the mind, and then all of a sudden you don't trust yourself and you don't have any self-confidence, and your sense of self-worth just goes out the window. You need to, it can be really hard, when it does start to happen though, because no one's perfect. Your mind is going to come in and say, oh man, you should have done this better. Hey Kai, man, your video, oh man, I'm I listened to a video when I'm done. And I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have said this instead of this. Oh, that instead of that. And it's like, well, you know what? No, like I trust that what I said in the moment is what I'm supposed to post. I'm not going to doubt that, but what happens when you do start to doubt it, right? You need to start separating yourself from the mind, as I was saying. Like, just picture yourself, your mind and your emotions, your thoughts and your emotions are right here. This is you. You need to start being the observer, as Eckhart Tolle says. You need to start separating yourself from it. Try visualizing your mind and your emotions in front of you, a separate entity of who you are, so that you can, when it does start to happen, when the mind comes in, the emotions come in, you can start to challenge it and question it. Like, is this really how I'm feeling? Is this really, do I need to trust this? No, I'm not going to trust this. I'm going to trust my gut and how I handle the situation in the moment more. It's never going to steer you wrong. It will never steer you wrong. Your mind will steer you wrong, when you start to overthink things and overanalyze things, for sure. And as empaths, we're predisposed to that. Because we're so introspective and we're so introverted usually, and so aware of our thoughts and our feelings and stuff, we attach to that stuff. Whereas more extroverted, less sensitive souls don't really do that. You need to watch that as an empath, though. You need to trust the flow of life. This world is taken away all spontaneity of everything. Now you have books and YouTube videos on how to do job interviews and how to date. You got to just say this to her, man. Just say this to her, and you'll get her to sleep with you. Just as long as you say this. If you don't say it like exactly like this, she's not going to sleep with you. You need to treat her bad. You need to treat him poorly. You got to make him wait. You got to string him along a little bit. You got to make him come to you. You don't go to them. You don't go to him or her. No. Don't you do it, man. If you do it, do not be spontaneous with your thoughts and feelings. Don't be in the moment. You need to think things. You need to think about everything. Realize how weird that is. Like, people can sense that. It's like anyone who's actually present and in the moment with things is going to sit there and just be like, why is this so awkward and weird? Oh, well, the guy on YouTube told me to. Why didn't it work? Well, man, hey, you need to pay me $300 for a coaching session and I'll tell you what you did wrong. It's not how it is, man. You need to trust your spontaneity of life. Trust that. Trust the flow of life. There's always going to be something better you could have done. There's always going to be something more you could have done, because your mind makes it like that. Who knows? You might not have had the best interaction, or you might not have had the best conversation, or handled the situation the best you could, because you might have been exhausted. Your gut was perceiving that there might have been a threat if you had handled it like this instead, and then you're in jail, and so you need to trust that. Or you might have gotten hurt or killed, God forbid. It's just, you'll start to be a lot more confident when you just accept how you are in the moment. Just accept it. Or if you can't, just start to be mindful of it. When the mind comes in and starts saying how you could have done better and how you're not good enough and how you could have done more, accept it, observe it, challenge it. It's okay. Thank you, mind, for, and have a good relationship with it. Don't be like, oh man, I just got to get this out of my head. Why is it being so, I don't want to be feeling this. It's no, thank it, give it compassion, give it empathy, give it kindness. Thank you for telling me how I could have done better or whatever you want to say, and separate yourself from it. Observe it. Don't become it. This is basic mindfulness right here. This is the gateway to higher levels of self-confidence, self-realization, and self-actualization. Why is it, well, Kai, why is this worth it? It's worth it because don't you want to be at peace with who you are? I did. I guess that's a question I said yes to, The self-confidence and the self-assuredness will follow that, though. When you start trusting yourself, it will. and watch. You'll see it, man. You'll start to stand up for yourself more, and it'll change your life completely. You'll be in these situations, and you'll already have a predisposition to trust yourself, and watch just how your reactions change. You're not going to be so timid. You'll start to stand up for yourself, and goddamn, like, you're going to step into your own light and who you are. And then you can help other people step into their light, and that's the cycle of life, man. It's beautiful, baby. Hope everyone has a great day. Bye.